Denen, Dänen, Denen, Dänen, Dänen, Denen, Denen, deren Dänen. Denen, Dänen, Denen, Dänen, Dänen, Denen, Denen, deren Dänen.
The issue with this tongue twister, with this Zungenbrecher, is that we have this closed E versus the open E.
Yeah, and it is really hard to differentiate them, especially when you do it fast. So at the beginning, if you say Dänen, it's a long E, right?
Yeah.
And the Dänen is an open E.
Both of these are long vowels too. Actually, the whole thing, everything is a long vowel.
That's right. And one is closed and one is more open.
Yeah.
Often you hear actually when American singers, they are singing, especially the word Mädchen. You often hear them speaking it like Mädchen, but it's actually not right. It's Mädchen.
Because it's the A umlaut, right?
Exactly, it's the umlaut. But you can also hear this in Germany that people, when they are just casually talking, sometimes they say Mädchen. It's also in different regions of Germany, they would say Mädchen instead of Mädchen. But lyric diction is really Mädchen und hier Dänen.
Yeah. And when we have the first word, Denen, just Denen, but later on we have it with an H in the middle. Does it sound exactly the same as the first word in this too?
Yes, it's exactly the same. Denen. Denen, Denen. Yes, it's exactly the same.
So the only word here that's not the closed E is the word for the Danes.
Yes, Dänen.
And we do have one word that's not Denen or Dänen.
Yeah, the deren. If I would speak it, I would say deren. So it's more the uvular R then. Mm-hmm. Deren. And as a phonetic letter, it's the upside down capital letter R.
But if you sing it, what would you do differently?
Yeah, I would roll it when I sing it. So it would be really different, much stronger than in the spoken language. Deren. I would say deren instead of deren. So when I speak it, it's a very soft R, deren. And it's much more in the back. So because when we are singing, we want to get the language in front, deren, in front of the mouth.
So it's the rolled R the way we do in Italian too, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Deren.
Yeah.
In this sentence, we also have lots of schwas at the end of words. Denen, Dänen. People are often asking how dark or how bright the schwa should be. And I think it's always good to orientate yourself on the open ä. With this, you cannot go wrong. Sometimes, if a vowel is preceding which is darker, the schwa at the end of the word might be darker as well, because we are trying to reach vocalic harmonization. But it depends also a lot on the tessitura in which you are singing and how it feels comfortable in the throat.
Mm-hmm. But in this case, because all of the vowels in the stressed syllables are built on an E or an E, we can keep this fairly bright, right?
That's absolutely correct. Here I would keep it very bright. Denen, and it's very unstressed. Denen, Dänen. And you will realize the faster you do it, the shorter the schwa is. I can leave it nearly out. Denen, Dänen, Denen, Dänen, Dänen, Denen, deren, Dänen. So it's very, very short and very unimportant.
Exactly. So why don't we translate this?
It's your turn.
Well, I tell you what, you say the word in German and I will say it in English.
Okay, Denen.
Those.
Dänen.
Danes, Danish people.
Denen.
To whom.
Dänen.
Danes.
Dänen.
Danes.
Denen.
Stretch.
Denen.
Stretch.
Deren.
Their.
Dänen.
Danes.
Exactly.
So those Danes to whom Danes stretch their Danes.
That's it. I think when you say this tongue twisters, it's also important that you take care for the commas, that it makes some sense, you know. You know where the phrase is going to. Denen, Dänen, Denen, Dänen, Dänen, Denen, Denen, deren, Dänen. Denen, Dänen, Denen, Dänen, Dänen, Denen, Denen, deren, Dänen.